On New Year's Eve, my wife told me she needed a fresh start, and the first step was me sleeping on the couch. Turned out, the couch wasn't the only place she moved me out of. My name's Miles. I'm 34, have an okay job, an okay car, an okay hairline, and, apparently, a completely unacceptable presence in my own bed. If you asked my wife Nina a year ago, she would have said I was her rock, her best friend, the guy who always knows how to fix Wi-Fi and assemble IKEA without crying. Now, I'm too much noise, too much energy, and my personal favorite, I feel like you're everywhere. Funny comment to make to a guy who mostly sits in the same corner of the couch every evening like a houseplant with a Spotify subscription. It didn't start with the couch, obviously. The first thing I noticed was the way she started dodging my hand. We've been married 6 years. I know the normal stuff. Sometimes you're tired, sometimes you're stressed, sometimes you're just annoyed because your husband forgot to take out the trash again. You get a sigh, an eye roll, maybe a Miles, seriously, and then life goes on. This was different. I'd put my hand on her back while we were watching TV, and she'd subtly shift forward. I'd brush her arm in the kitchen, and she'd just remember she needed something from the other side of the room. You ever try to hug someone who's already halfway out of the hug before you even get there? That was Nina. "Hey," I asked one night, as she scooted away from me on the couch so slowly you could almost pretend it was an accident. "Do I have some kind of new smell I should know about?" She didn't look away from her phone. "What?" "I'm just checking if my deodorant suddenly turned into pepper spray." She gave a tiny laugh, the kind you give to a meme you've already seen 3 times. "You're being dramatic." "That's a yes on the smell?" "Stop," she said, still smiling at her screen. "You're fine. I'm just tired." Tired. That became the magic word. Nina was tired when I got home from work. Tired when I suggested we watch something together. Tired when I texted her a dumb meme. Tired when I tried to kiss her in the hallway. A one-size-fits-all excuse that apparently covered every possible scenario, except the ones where she spent an hour laughing in the kitchen with her phone. Funny how tired disappears when Instagram and friends from yoga are involved. To be fair, I tried to be understanding at first. End of the year, holidays, work deadlines, family expectations. It's a lot. She works in marketing, which means her entire December is urgent campaigns and last-minute changes, and bosses who think time off is a myth. So I told myself it was stress. When she stayed late at the office twice a week, stress. When she took her phone into the bathroom and came out smiling, stress. When she turned her body away from me in bed, like I was a drafty window, heavy, complicated, advanced stress. "Hey," I asked one evening, as she scrolled through her phone on the far end of the couch like we were 2 strangers waiting in a dentist's office. "You all right? You've been kind of distant." "I'm fine," she said instantly. "Okay, let me rephrase. Are we all right?" She sighed, the world-weary sigh of a woman married to a man who asks basic questions. "Miles, can you not start this right now? I had a long day." "It's always a long day," I said. "They should really shorten those at your office." She gave me a look. "This is what I mean. You joke about everything. You say that like it's a bug, not a feature. Sometimes I need you to be serious." "I am serious. That's why I'm asking. I'm not trying to fight. I just miss you. And you're sitting 6 cushions away like I haven't showered since Halloween." Her eyes softened for half a second. I saw the old Nina there, the one who used to crawl into my lap and ask if we could stay like that forever. Then it vanished. "I just need space," she said. "Okay?" There it was. First time she said it out loud. "Space," I repeated. "Like, from me?" "No," she said too quickly. "Not from you, just in general. From everything." "Right, everything. Which just happens to look exactly like me." She rolled her eyes. "See? This is what I mean. You twist everything I say." "I promise you, I am not creatively twisting 'I need space' into something else," I said. That one's pretty straightforward. She pushed herself up from the couch. I'm going to bed. I have an early morning tomorrow. It was 9:30. After that, the space theme became her greatest hit. I need time to think. You're pressuring me. Can we not talk about this right now? Can you just let me breathe? I swear I was starting to feel like a one-man asthma attack. It's not like I was following her around the apartment with a microphone. I'd ask one or two questions, try to touch her, try to plan a date, and suddenly I was too much. Meanwhile, she could spend 3 hours in the bedroom with the door half closed, laughing at her phone, and that was her recharging. Who are you texting? I asked once, leaning in the doorway. Friends, she answered without looking up. Cool, love that for you. Any of the friends have names? She finally glanced at me, irritated. Why are you being so suspicious? I'm not. I'm being nosy. Different setting on the same personality. It's just the girls from my yoga group, she said. Can you relax? The girls from yoga? I repeated. Got it. Please continue your stretching of social boundaries. She glared. Do you always have to joke? Do you always have to avoid answering simple questions? Miles, drop it. So I did. For a while. December rolled in, and with it came the usual New Year madness. I love this time of year. I'm one of those annoying people who actually likes putting up lights and peeling mandarins until my fingers smell like childhood and vitamin C overdose. Nina used to love it too. We had our own little traditions, bad movies, cheap champagne. This year, I decided I'd go all in. Maybe if I made the apartment feel like a warm, glowing snow globe, she'd remember we like each other. I took a half day off work to decorate, hung warm white lights around the windows, put up our fake tree in the corner, wrestled with the old box of ornaments like it personally offended me. I even bought new candles that smelled like winter forest, which apparently is code for pine trees and sugar. By the time Nina came home, the apartment was softly glowing. Music was playing low from a playlist called something cringe like Cozy New Year Vibes. And I was in the kitchen trying not to burn the appetizers. The door opened. Nina? I called. Welcome to your seasonal depression cure. She stepped in, heels clicking, coat perfectly draped over her arm. She looked great. Hair done, makeup on point, little black dress under her coat like she was headed to some rooftop bar. For our new year at home? Her eyes scanned the room, then landed on the tree. You did all this? She asked. Either that, or the apartment unionized and decorated itself. She didn't smile. The lights are crooked. Nice to see you too. Seriously, she said, dropping her bag on the chair. You hung them way too low on that side. It looks uneven. Nina, I was on a step stool having a spiritual battle with a knot of cables. They lost, I won. That's all the symmetry you're getting. She walked over and started adjusting the garland like she was fixing a patient on life support. And why did you put the gold ornaments and red ornaments together? She continued. You have to spread them out. Did you even look at what you were doing? Yes, actually. I was going for charming chaos, not Pinterest board. She sighed. Sometimes I feel like you don't listen to me at all. I turned off the stove and faced her. Nina, this isn't the G20 summit. It's a tree. I told you last year I like when it's balanced. And I remembered that, which is why I put the star exactly in the middle. That's my compromise as head of tree. She shook her head and went back to rearranging things I'd already done. If you've never watched someone silently erase your effort ornament by ornament, I don't recommend it. It's like being edited in real time. You look nice, by the way, I said after a second. Big plans? Secret club? Mafia meeting? It's New Year's, she said, adjusting a string of lights. I wanted to dress up. For me? I wiggled my eyebrows. She glanced at me like I'd just told a dad joke at a funeral. For myself. Right. You look amazing for yourself. And the tree. And whoever else is in the audience. Can you stop? She snapped. You're being weird. I live here, decorating my own home. Super weird, I know. She stared at the tree, jaw tight. This is what I mean. I can't just say anything without you turning it into Something. Okay, I said quietly. What do you want me to do right now? She paused, then shrugged. Nothing, just give me a second. So I gave her a second, and a minute, and the rest of the evening. We had dinner. I'd made her favorite appetizers, set the table nicely, even put out the fancy plates we got as a wedding gift and never use because apparently they're for guests. Tonight, I tried to pretend we were guests in our own life, one where we still liked each other. She picked at her food more than she ate. This is salty, she commented. That's okay, I said. So is the mood. She narrowed her eyes. Why do you keep doing that? Doing what? Talking? Picking at everything I say. I'm literally responding. That's what conversations are. One person says a thing, the other person says a thing back. It's wild. She leaned back in her chair. Sometimes I feel like you only hear yourself. Trust me, if I only heard myself, we'd be having a much more peaceful evening. Her phone buzzed on the table. She glanced at it quickly, then flipped it face down. The name flashed just long enough for me to read, Leah, Yoga, before the screen went dark. Is that the flexible cult checking in? I asked. Don't start, she said. Just concerned, I said lightly. Usually when someone is this glued to their phone, it's either a group chat or a new religion. Why are you being so jealous? She shot back. It's just my friend. Yeah, I know, I said. She pushed her plate away. I'm not hungry. Cool, I said. At least the salt didn't go to waste. I seasoned the conversation too. Miles, I swear, sometimes you're exhausting. There it was again. I was too much, too loud, too present, too something. It's funny how someone can spend years telling you you're their safe place, and then one day it's like you turned into a fire alarm that won't shut up. We cleaned up in mostly silence. I kept trying to find small ways back to normal. Hey, remember that year we almost burned the turkey? Remember when your mom called at midnight and we all sang off key? Remember when you fell asleep 5 minutes before the countdown and I had to kiss a pillow? She gave me brief smiles, but they never reached her eyes. The distance was there, sitting between us at the table, standing between us at the sink, walking between us from room to room. At around 11:30, I brought out the small gift I'd gotten her. Nothing crazy, just a necklace she'd pointed at in a shop window months ago. I'd remembered because apparently my brain still thinks we're in a healthy relationship. Hey, I said, handing her the box. Before the New Year chaos. She blinked. What's this? A toaster, I said. Open it. She rolled her eyes but took it. Lifted the lid. For a second her face softened again. She closed the box carefully. It's nice, she said. Thank you. There was a pause. I waited for her to stand up, wrap her arms around me, kiss me the way she used to when I surprised her with something thoughtful. Instead, she set the box aside like a bill she'd open later. Are you okay? I asked. You look like someone gave you a parking ticket, not jewelry. She rubbed her temples. There's something I've been thinking about. Cool, I said. That's my favorite way for a sentence to start. She didn't smile. She took a deep breath, staring at the blinking lights on the tree like she was timing her words with them. It's almost midnight, she said. New Year, fresh start. Yeah, I nodded slowly. That's kind of the point. New Year, maybe slightly upgraded us. She looked at me then, really looked. And there was so much distance in her eyes it felt like I was across an ocean, not across the coffee table. Miles, she said, I think from tonight, you should sleep on the couch. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. Nina wasn't a comedian, but surely this was one of those moments where she'd smirk and say, Relax, I'm kidding. She didn't smirk. She didn't blink. She just stood there, arms crossed, like a manager about to fire an employee right before the holiday break. The couch? I repeated. Yes, she said calmly, too calmly. That dangerous calm women get when they've rehearsed the line in their head 10 times. Did I miss a team meeting about this? I asked. Or is this just a sudden promotion to household luggage? Miles, don't make this difficult. I'm not making it difficult, I said. You're making it extremely couch-based. She sighed like I was the problem here. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal? I held up my hands. Please, walk me through how being evicted from my own bed on New Year's Eve is not a big deal. I need space. I told you that. Space, I echoed. Right, space. Because nothing says fresh start like sending your husband to sleep next to last year's tax documents. She pinched the bridge of her nose. Can you not turn everything into a joke? I could, I said. If the material stopped being hilarious. She glared at me. Miles, please, don't ruin tonight. Ah, I pointed at her. There it is. I'm ruining tonight. Not the part where you demote me to sofa citizen. Can you just... She gestured vaguely. Not do this? I looked at her for a long moment. The blinking lights behind her made the whole scene feel stupidly festive for the conversation we were having. You know I bought champagne, I said. The expensive one, the one you like. I thought we'd toast together. She shifted her weight. We still can. Before or after I go sleep on Exile Island? Miles? I raised my hands again. Okay, fine. You want space? I won't fight you. She seemed relieved, which somehow made it worse. Thank you, she said softly. I just need to clear my head. Got it, I said. Meanwhile, I'll go get reacquainted with the couch. Haven't spent quality time with it since... never. She walked away, already done with the conversation. I stayed standing there for a second, trying to figure out how I went from husband to houseguest in under a minute. The countdown on TV started murmuring in the background. People cheering, fireworks warming up outside, a holiday moment everyone else would remember as cozy and magical. Me? I walked into the living room and started building my temporary nest out of throw pillows like some kind of festive raccoon. The couch was cold. Not physically, emotionally. It had betrayal energy. The kind of furniture that says, "You should have seen this coming, buddy." I tossed a blanket over it, sat down, then lay back. The ceiling twinkled faintly with reflections from the tree. It should have been beautiful. Instead, it felt like a sign. A very bright, very sparkly sign saying, "You're not the main character in your own marriage anymore." From the bedroom, I heard Nina moving around. Closet doors, hangers, a soft hum, the kind she makes when she's getting ready for something she actually cares about. Midnight was close. I tried to brush off the feeling crawling up my spine. Tried to tell myself it was temporary, that this was just stress, that she'd come out in 10 minutes and curl up next to me like old times. Then, right at 11:57, she walked out of the bedroom wearing her coat. Going somewhere? I asked. She froze. I'm just stepping out on the balcony. Balcony, I repeated. Got it. And the coat is because the balcony is applying for independence from the climate? It's cold out, she snapped. Stop being weird. Sure, I said. Wouldn't want to ruin the fresh start. She opened the balcony door. Cold air rushed in. She stepped outside, pulling the door halfway closed behind her. I stayed lying on the couch, staring at the ceiling. 11:59 p.m. Then I heard it. A faint vibration. I sat up, looked around. The sound came again. I followed it. It was coming from the bedroom. Nina's phone buzzed on the nightstand, screen lighting up the dark room like a tiny spotlight on my worst suspicion. I shouldn't have gone in. I know that. But curiosity didn't just kill the cat. It also ruined my new year. I stepped inside. The phone vibrated again. The screen showed a preview. I wish you were here tonight. Name underneath, Leah from yoga group. My stomach dropped. Another message popped up immediately. Next year is ours. Ours. Who the hell is ours? At that exact moment, midnight hit. Fireworks burst outside. People cheered in the distance, and my wife toasted the new year on the balcony with her coat and her secrets. Meanwhile, I was standing in the dark, reading the real reason she needed space. I put the phone down exactly where it had been. No snooping through messages, no scrolling, no screenshots. I didn't need more. The 2 texts were enough to explain the last 4 months. I stepped back into the hallway just as Nina opened the balcony door again. She looked fresh, relaxed, like the cold air had cleansed her soul, or whatever poetic nonsense Instagram sells people these days. "Happy New Year," she said softly. I looked at her. "Yeah," I said. "Happy New Year." She tilted her head. "Why do you look like that?" "Like what?" "Like you're about to say something stupid." "Oh, don't worry," I said. "If I say something stupid tonight, it definitely won't be the first." She frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means," I said, "we need to talk." She closed her eyes with theatrical exhaustion. "Miles, please. Not now. You always pick the worst moments." "Yeah," I said. "Turns out I'm just terrible at timing. You, on the other hand, seem to have perfect timing with your private midnight chats." Her eyes snapped open. "What?" "You heard me." Her whole body tensed. "Miles, don't. Whatever you think." "I don't think," I cut her off. "I read." She froze, completely. I didn't raise my voice, didn't shout, didn't break anything. I just stood there, waiting. Finally, she spoke. "You went through my phone?" she whispered. "Oh, wow," I said, clapping once, slowly. "We're skipping the explanation part and jumping straight to the counter-accusation. Classic." "You had no right," she hissed, stepping forward. "That's my personal—" Yeah, I nodded. "Your personal space, your personal time, your personal conversations. Believe me, I've heard the theme." She crossed her arms. "You're twisting things again." "Am I?" I asked. "Then by all means, untwist them." Her jaw clenched so tightly I could hear her teeth thinking about filing for divorce. "I needed someone to talk to," she said finally. "Sure," I said. "Perfectly reasonable. Everyone needs friends. Some people even need romantic emojis from friends. It's not like that." "Fantastic," I said. "Then what is it like?" "You're smothering me," she burst out. "You never give me room to breathe." "You asked me to sleep on the couch," I said. "How much more room do you need? A separate zip code." "You're being dramatic. And you're being dishonest." She looked away sharply. "I can't do this right now." "Yeah," I said. "I got that when you stepped onto the balcony instead of kissing your husband at midnight." She flinched slightly. "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like, Nina?" I asked quietly. "Because from where I'm standing, you didn't just push me off the bed tonight. You pushed me out of the marriage." She opened her mouth, then closed it. For once, she didn't have a comeback. She just whispered, "You're too much sometimes." I nodded. "Yeah, apparently." She walked past me toward the bedroom. "I'm going to bed." "Good," I said. "Enjoy it." I went back to the couch, my new kingdom, my new reality. The lights flickered gently. Outside, fireworks echoed. Inside, the only sound was her tapping on her phone again, softer this time, but unmistakably happy. Not because of me. Never because of me. I don't know how long I lay awake on that couch. Could have been minutes, could have been hours. Time works differently when your marriage is busy collapsing like a poorly built IKEA shelf. At some point, the fireworks died down. The apartment got quiet. Too quiet. Even the heater decided to take the night off. I shifted under the blanket, staring at the ceiling, replaying the balcony, the messages, her face when I said we need to talk. She didn't look scared of losing me, only scared of being inconvenienced. Around 3 a.m., I finally drifted off. Not real sleep. More like passing out emotionally. The couch, by the way, is a liar. It looks soft, friendly, supportive. But when you actually sleep on it, it transforms into a medieval torture device designed specifically to ruin your spine. I woke up at 7:40 with a pain in my neck that felt personal. Nina, meanwhile, was already up. I heard her humming in the kitchen. Actual humming. Cheerful. Light. Like it was the first morning of her favorite year ever. She had never hummed in the morning before. Usually she glared at the coffee machine like it had personally wronged her. I sat up slowly. My back made a sound like someone stepping on bubble wrap. I walked to the kitchen doorway. She stood there in her pajamas, hair up in a messy bun, smiling at her phone while making coffee. She didn't look tired. She didn't look stressed. She looked fulfilled. "Morning," I said. She jumped slightly, like she didn't expect me to be in my own home. "Oh," she said, "you're awake." "Well," I said, "the couch tried to murder me, so yes." She made a dismissive face. "You're so dramatic. It's a couch, not a crime scene." "It will be if I sleep on it again," I said. "Pretty sure one of my ribs tried to escape." She rolled her eyes and went back to her phone. "Did you enjoy the balcony festivities?" She pretended not to hear the undertone. "Fresh air helps me think." "And what did it help you think about?" She set down her mug a little too hard. "Can we not do this first thing in the morning?" "Oh, sure," I said. "Let me know what hour of the day is convenient for discussing romances from yoga." She froze. "Miles," she said sharply. "I told you, it's not like that." "Right," I nodded. "Just two people sending each other heart emojis and talking about next year is ours. Totally normal friendship behavior." "You didn't read the full context." "I didn't need to," I said. "Two lines were enough. Really efficient cheating, eco-friendly, and time-saving." She glared at me. "You're twisting things again." "You keep saying that," I said. "You ever consider the possibility that the things you're saying are already twisted?" She picked up her mug and took a long sip, clearly stalling. "I needed support," she finally said. "You weren't giving it." I laughed. Not a happy laugh. The kind you make at a funeral when Uncle Bob says something wildly inappropriate. "Nina, I've been trying to support you for months. I asked, I listened, I cooked, I decorated, I bought the damn necklace." "I didn't ask for any of that." "Oh, sorry," I said. "Let me return all emotional gestures to sender." "You're impossible. And you're deflecting." She put her mug down again and crossed her arms. "You're making a huge deal out of nothing." I nodded slowly. "Right. Because being pushed out of our bed and replaced emotionally isn't a big deal. Totally small, like a parking ticket, or stepping on a Lego." She didn't respond. For a moment, the only sound in the kitchen was the coffee machine finishing its cycle like a tiny applause break. Then she tried another angle, the classic one. "You know," she said calmly, "you're the one who walked into the bedroom last night. You're the one who invaded my privacy." Ah, there it was, the gaslight Grand Prix. "I walked in because your phone was vibrating like it was trying to escape," I said evenly. "I didn't scroll. I didn't snoop. I saw 2 messages. That's all." "You still shouldn't have looked. And you shouldn't have needed a secret midnight cheerleader," I said. "Yet, here we are." She threw her hands up. "I swear, you always do this. Take one moment and turn it into a whole narrative. You never trust me." I stared at her for a long second. "Nina," I said quietly, "you asked me to sleep on the couch so you could text someone else Happy New Year." Her jaw tightened. "That's not why." "Then tell me why." "I needed space." "Yeah," I said. "You mentioned, many times, loudly, repeatedly, with the enthusiasm of someone selling beachfront property." "You're mocking me." "I'm surviving," I corrected. She exhaled loudly. "This is pointless. I'm done talking about it." "Okay," I said. "Let me try a different question then." I stepped closer. "Are you happy?" She went still. "I don't know," she said after a moment. "I think I might need more than what we have." There it was. The softest way to break a man's ribs without touching him. I nodded. "Got it." "That's not fair," she said quickly. "You're putting words in my mouth." "I don't need to. You're doing great on your own." She looked away again. "I just want to feel free." I let out a short breath through my nose. "Then feel free." She whipped her head back toward me. "What does that mean?" "It means," I said, "if you want space, you can have it." She blinked, confused by the lack of drama. "You're just giving up?" "No," I said. "I'm choosing not to beg for someone who's already halfway out the door." She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. I walked past her to the hallway. She turned quickly. "Where are you going?" "Packing," I said, lightly. "Don't worry, I'm not taking the couch." "You're leaving?" she demanded, as if she was the one being abandoned. "I'm giving you what you want," I said without turning around. "Space." "That's not fair," she said again. "Funny," I said. "Neither was last night." I grabbed a small duffel bag from the closet. Underwear, jeans, hoodie, toothbrush. The essentials of a man experiencing his personality's villain arc. Nina hovered in the doorway. "So that's it?" she asked, her voice sharp. "You're just going to walk away?" I zipped the bag and slung it over my shoulder. "No," I said. "I'm walking toward something." "What?" "Self-respect," I said simply. Her eyes widened for a fraction of a second, like she didn't expect me to have enough spine to stand up straight. "Miles," she said, softer now. "This is very immature." "I guess," I said, "but dramatically less immature than texting 'next year is ours' to someone else while your husband sleeps on a couch." She flinched again. "I didn't mean for things to get this complicated." "Me neither," I said. "Yet here we are, two people in the kitchen, one confused, one done." She swallowed. "Where will you go?" "I'll figure it out," I said. "Don't worry, I won't die. Not until I get a nap on a surface designed for human spines." "Miles, please." I held up a hand. "No speeches, no guilt. You made your choices. I'm making mine." I walked to the door, put on my shoes, grabbed my coat. She stood frozen at the end of the hallway. As I opened the door, I turned back for one last line. The kind of line men in movies say, except I wasn't acting. "If New Year is for new beginnings," I said, "mine definitely isn't starting on that couch." And I walked out. The cold air outside felt cleaner than anything inside that apartment had felt in months. And for the first time all night, maybe the first time all year, I felt like I could breathe. I didn't go far that morning, just walked. No destination, no plan, just the quiet crunch of cold pavement under my shoes and the slow realization that my marriage had ended at the exact moment the fireworks started. Funny timing. I stopped at a small cafe a few blocks away. It was open for the holiday, run by an old man who probably didn't believe in days off. I bought a coffee, sat by the window, and watched the city move in slow motion. People were laughing, hugging, dragging Christmas trees to dumpsters, posting "New Year, New Me," stories like their entire personality had been rebooted overnight. Meanwhile, I was starring in "New Year, New Living Arrangements." An hour later, my phone buzzed. "Nina, where are you?" Another message followed instantly. "We need to talk." Then a third. "Why are you doing this?" Classic sequence. Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "Let's fix this." Just, "How dare you give me the consequences of my own choices?" I didn't answer. Instead, I texted my friend Jason, the guy who once slept on my couch for 2 months after his breakup. So this was my karmic revenge. Me. "You home?" Jason. "Bro, it's 9 a.m. on January 1st. Absolutely not, Jason." "Wait. Why?" Me. "Need a place to crash." Jason. "Door code is 2580. Couch is cleanish. Don't touch the salsa." Perfect. I walked over. His apartment was a bachelor-level disaster. Empty pizza boxes, gym bags, and a mysterious smell that might have been ambition dying. But it was mine for now, and most importantly, his couch didn't try to break my spine. I dropped my bag, sat down, and exhaled for what felt like the first time in months. Around noon, Nina called. I let it ring. She called again, then again. Then she sent a long text. The kind that starts with, "I didn't mean for this to happen," continues with, "You're overreacting," and ends with, "We should meet so I can explain." Explain what? Why her fresh start didn't include me? Why the couch was step 1 in her 5-year exit strategy? Why space was actually spelled LIA? And what kind of man was hiding behind this name? I typed a message, deleted it, typed another, deleted that too. Finally, I wrote something simple. "Take all the space you need. I'm done chasing someone who's already gone. I hit send, watched the little delivered pop up, put the phone face down. The silence afterward wasn't heavy. It wasn't lonely. It wasn't even sad. It was clean. A fresh start. The real kind, not the sleep on the couch while I text my New Year soulmate kind. For the rest of the day, I sat on Jason's couch, wrapped in a blanket that smelled like Doritos and dog, drinking terrible instant coffee and feeling something unfamiliar. Relief. It didn't erase the hurt. It didn't erase the betrayal. It didn't erase the fact that my marriage crumbled in slow motion, while I tried to tape it together with jokes and holiday decorations. But it did remind me of this. You can't save a relationship alone, and you definitely can't save it from the couch. That night, I went to sleep early, my phone on silent. For the first time in months, nobody was asking me for space. I finally had some of my own. We met one last time a week later so I could pick up the rest of my things. Nina tried to play every card at once: confusion, guilt, tears, nostalgia. She kept saying she didn't mean for things to go that far, as if the couch had kicked me out on its own. But the strange thing was, I wasn't angry anymore. The moment I stepped back into that apartment, I realized I was already out of it long before I walked away. She finally asked quietly, "Can't we try again?" And I told her the truth. We haven't been trying for a long time. We've just been pretending. That was the end. Over the next few months, she sent a few messages. The classic "I miss what we had" type, even though she was the one who'd stopped having it. I didn't reply. Not out of spite, but because there was nothing left to fix. I moved into a small place of my own. Got back into running. Started cooking real meals instead of emotional survival food. Slept on a bed that didn't hate my spine. And the funniest part? New Year really did give me a fresh start. Just not the one she had in mind. If you felt this story hit hard, drop a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps Steelheart beating.